It might look pretty typical, but it's what's in this pulled pork that makes it so much better. Lean, mean pork tenderloin, not to be confused with pork loin. This lean cut of meat is the first thing about this recipe that makes it stand out. It has roughly the same macros as chicken breast, meaning that this recipe could replace the boring chicken and rice you've been eating every day for the past month. Pork tenderloin is literally a cheat code for high protein meal prep. I mean, look at those fibers. So little fat. Now, don't get me wrong, fat isn't bad. I just want to control how much of it I eat. But there's a problem. Low fat equals low flavor. Here's how I solve this. I place the 2.5 pounds of pork into a slow cooker. Here I'm using my instant pot. Measuring cup, I'm going to make a marinade of sorts. Apple cider vinegar for some acid, about a 1/4 cup or around 60 milliliters. The same amount of maple syrup for sweetness, and 1 cup, about 240 milliliters of water. Stir and give a little taste test. Nice. Except it's missing one thing. 1 teaspoon or about 6 grams of salt. This will help with flavor, as it always does. Pour right into the pot with the pork, and I make sure the pork is mostly covered with the liquid. I've seen people use root beer for this, but I do things all natural on this channel. 7 hours on low if you're using a slow cooker, or on normal and with the pressure release valve open if using an instant pot. And that's most of the work done. Something worth celebrating. 7 hours of awkward dancing later, and it's time to see how the pork tenderloin turned out. Looks, oh, that's better. Despite the interesting first impression, the meat is cooked perfectly. Tender, fall apart goodness. I'll set that aside to cool down some and make the second thing about this recipe that makes it stand out. Starting with a saucepan and 1 can of tomato sauce, about 15 ounces or 425 grams, I'm building the base of the best barbecue sauce I've ever made. Again, apple cider vinegar, a 1/4 cup or about 45 grams. Worcestershire sauce, a 1/4 cup or 45 grams. Maple syrup, this convenient handle makes it easy to pour, a 1/4 cup or 45 grams. Dijon James. 20 grams or about a tablespoon, a 1/2 teaspoon or about 3 grams of salt, smoked paprika, it must be smoked, 1.5 teaspoons or about 5 grams, 1 teaspoon or about 3 grams of allspice, black pepper, or this if you ran out of it, 1/2 teaspoon or about 1 gram, and garlic and onion powder, 1/2 teaspoon or about 2 grams each. I give it all a good whisk, and now I want to show you something. Just as is, the sauce tastes great, but if I do the spoon test, you can see just how grainy the mixture is. Not very appealing to the palate. But here's how you fix that. A slurry of about a tablespoon of cornstarch mixed into about a tablespoon of water, add it to the sauce mixture, and stir it on medium heat will help to both thicken the sauce and give it a smooth consistency. About 5 minutes of constant, gentle whisking, and the sauce is looking darker and a bit thicker, and the spoon test reveals a richer, saucier sauce. Back to the meat. Here I've got a big bowl that I'm going to transfer all the meat to, along with a little bit of the liquid from the pot, and just go to town making the pork pulled. In comes the sauce I just made, free of any high fructose corn syrup, artificial colors or flavors, or any other questionable ingredients. Mix around and add a little fresh lime juice and salt to taste. And now I have a super simple pulled pork that just wouldn't be complete without some coleslaw. Love it or hate it, this is one way to make a healthier coleslaw. Here's how I make the sauce. Plain Greek yogurt, 100 grams or a little less than a 1/2 cup. White or rice vinegar, 5 grams or 1 teaspoon. The same amount of Dijon mustard, olive oil, about a tablespoon, salt, about a 1/2 teaspoon or 3 grams, and pepper to taste. And mix. You can add about a teaspoon of honey to this if you like a sweeter coleslaw. And time for the veggies. I get the pre-cut stuff because it's just convenient. I don't do everything from scratch, like these buns. Watch that video next to see why I always make my own buns. Time to assemble and taste. It truly is like no other.